It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the May 9th meeting of the Milton Area School District. We have roll call, please.
Mr. Frederick? Here. Mr. Osterman? Here. Mr. Hunt? Here. Ms. Kessler?
Here.
Mr. Moser? Here. Dr. Strasser?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Dr. Weaver?
Here.
Mrs. Rance?
Here.
Thank you.
This evening, we have the honor of Evan Hollenbach. He's a 5th grade student at White Deer Elementary School. His parents are Mr. and Mrs. Farron Hollenbach, and his teacher is Mrs. Lilly. Would you please join Evan for the pledge to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Super good job. Thank you very much for being here this evening. Remember to say thank you so much. All righty. We'll begin this evening with presentations and comments from visitors. We'll start with the district students of the month, and White Deer Elementary is first.
Good evening, board. I'm here. I'm going to talk about both White Deer and Bocker's Student of the Month. We'll start with White Deer. Cullen Reese. Cullen, can you come up here? Cullen was kind enough to join us from the ball field, obviously, tonight. So Cullen is a 3rd grader at White Deer Elementary School. His teacher said that he's always working hard, willing to help others, and he goes above and beyond on his assignments in the classroom. I personally find Cullen to be an excellent example of being Panther crab. I know Mom would be remiss if I didn't say something about he doesn't have a mullet right now, but I heard he's working on it again. He wants to bring it back. He had to cut it for wrestling season. That's what I was told. But he's an excellent example of a kid that you love to talk to, you love to be around. He just exudes energy, positivity, and he's an absolute star in the classroom, out of the classroom. So ladies and gentlemen, Cullen. So I'm going to kind of switch gears here a little bit and jump into Bocker's Student of the Month. And I believe it's Lindsay Wolf. If you know the Wolf family, they're everywhere on soccer fields all over the place, and track and field events and all that stuff. So she was unable to be here tonight, but she's a 4th grader in Miss Balliette's class. And she had this to say about Lindsay. Lindsay Wolf is an exemplary student who uses her pause daily. She's a hardworking student, and she's a great friend to everyone in the classroom. Lindsay quietly goes about doing the right thing. She treats all the students and adults in the building with respect and kindness. Miss Balliette can always depend on her to be helpful and kind, and each day she comes to school with a positive attitude and excitement to learn. Lindsay is another fantastic example of what we are trying to develop with our Panther, with our paws. She shows those every day, and she's a great leader in the classroom. We appreciate her. And so I know she's not here, but if we could still give her a round of applause.
Hi, Mr. Scoggins couldn't be with us tonight, but he asked me to present this award on his behalf. When he asked Mr. Hewitt and I to consider a band student for Student of the Month, we immediately both thought of Kai Ayala. Kai, come on up. Kai joined band for the first time this year, and she began playing saxophone. She can often be seen seeking help from one of us or working independently in the band hall during Pride time. She's tried very hard to get caught up to her peers, and she's gone above and beyond. She chose to challenge herself and participate in advanced band, which is something we offer to our more advanced middle school students, where they actually participate in the high school band music as well. And beyond that, she also chose to join the jazz band this spring. Pretty big feat for someone who just started playing an instrument this year. About a week or so before the school concert or spring concert, Kai asked me about playing the oboe. She noticed we didn't have one in the middle school or high school band, and she asked if she could possibly try it out. So just last week, we got out an oboe and a reed and got her started. And I have to say, Mr. Hewitt and I were both really pleasantly surprised when she did not sound like a beginning oboe player. And if you've ever heard that, trust me, it's a good thing. So she's already working very hard at learning the oboe. She's worked her way most of the way through the first book on her own. So we gave her the second book, and I expect more good things to come from Kai. So thank you, Kai, and congratulations.
Good evening, board. I have the pleasure of introducing to you tonight Ava Harmon. She is our high school citizen of the month. Ava is relatively new to our Milton family, and she's already started making a pretty significant impact. Obviously, if she's standing here before you tonight. Ms. Bittinger, her biology teacher, had this to say about Ava. Ava was shy in a few words when she joined us at Milton in September. However, her shyness has lifted, and getting to know her has been a pleasure. She's respectful, always pleasant, and goes above and beyond with her work. She has persevered through some life issues and is truly embracing Milton pride. Mr. O'Connor, her pride teacher, had to say this about her. Ava is extremely kind and a gentle person. She is friendly to everybody, and she uses her life experiences to treat others with compassion. Ava is one of those individuals that whenever you see her in the hallway, her smile just brightens up anybody that she's around. She's always kind, always polite. She truly embraces what it means to be a Milton Black Panther. And we're blessed to have her here at Milton High School, our outstanding, or our citizen of the month of May, Ava Harmon.
Congratulations to each of the students. Thank you for being here this evening. You represent Milton very well, and we're very, very happy that you're part of Milton School District. All right, we'll continue this evening with our student representative report. Sam.
Evening board. Today I have with me Zoe, who's going on the left of me. We have Zoe here on the left. We also have Cameron Hoover on the far right, and then Abby Kitchens to my right here. And we're going to get started with our May and last presentation of the school year. We're going to start with academics. We have literature keystones Monday and Tuesday, May 15th and the 16th, with biology then Wednesday and Thursday, the 17th and 18th. Algebra is then the 19th and 22nd. And then AP exams are from the 3rd to the 8th, and placement testing for PC Now classes is also going on. Move It Up Day is scheduled for May 22nd with the senior awards on the 24th. We have, I'm not going to list all of them, but we have a lot of sporting events coming up for the week of the 8th through the 13th. So it'd be awesome to see people going out to those and the school year, and they're there. And then we have track and field freshman sophomore meet Saturday, May 6th at Milton Black Panther Stadium. 7 schools participated, and then district track and field Thursday and Saturday, May 18th and the 20th at Williamsport High School.
So, for professional days, many thanks and appreciations were given for different departments throughout the week. We provided small tokens of appreciation just to show everybody that we're here for them and are so thankful for them. Some of the things were written letters by students, just thanking our secretaries for all that they do. And then PBIS activities, there were raffle baskets filled with snacks, beach items, and gift cards to be raffled for remaining PBIS points. And then there was a phenomenal Panther board for classrooms. Then this Thursday will be the Pops concert with the high school chorus and select ensemble. And then as well as the district-wide art show will start tomorrow, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then Thursday, same time in the high school gym. There was also this Thursday, a dunk tank and obstacle course starting at 11 during a lunch. There will be dunk tanks and a bunch of inflatables. And then the band front, there will be tryouts May 17th, 3 to 5 p.m.
Then for before prom, the week leading up to prom, students participated in activities warning them of the dangers of driving under the influence. Presentations included what to avoid before and after prom, as well as students wearing fatal vision goggles and performing a field sobriety test. For our prom court, we had Brooklyn Wade, Luke DeLong, Gabriel Yost, Emma East, Xavier Minium, Ryan Roush, Seth Yoder, Laura Faust, Madeline Nicholas, and Dylan Rice. And then Brooklyn Wade and Luke DeLong were crowned our king and queen this year. Those are just a couple extra pictures that people sent in from prom. It was a lot of fun. For Powder Puff, that is coming up. And the students have been practicing for 3 weeks during prides that were open to prepare for the game coming up at Warrior Run Stadium. The Powder Puff game this year is going to be held at Warrior Run. And it's the second year that the student councils have worked together for the annual Powder Puff game. And it's going to be on Sunday, May 21st with a start time at noon. So please come and support if you're able to for the kickoff to the summer.
So some of our senior events coming up to send them off are the seniors' last day is the 12th, but their Pocono trip is May 15th, and on the 16th they are hiking at Ricketts Glen, and on the 17th they are kayaking down the river starting from Watsontown down to Milton State Park. On the 23rd, seniors awards assembly, and on the 24th, graduation at 7. Looking to next year, the high school, we have decided to combine some of our leadership programs to increase school spirit and engage more students so that we're not always depending on the same students. So student government, student leadership, and PBAS. So here is a list of some of the events we're hoping on doing. I believe there is a ice cream social on there and painting of the senior parking lots.
Now comes the fun part. As president and as a senior, I get the honor of introducing you all to our new officers for next year. So for president, we will have Zoe Latier to my left, with the vice president being Abby Kitchens. And then secretary is also Cameron Hoover, as well as we will have Emily Waltman as treasurer, but she's not here today. And then Tori Gordner as historian and Aaron Hess as our social and media person. I've been doing this since my sophomore year, haven't missed a board meeting, so 3 years of that. So when I say that you all are in capable hands, I think there's a little bit of validity to that. As much as I'm gonna miss this, you got a good group of kids here, so you'll all be fine. Thank you.
Gavin, we're going to miss you. Thank you. You're a wonderful young man. Thank you so much for all your years of updating us. Lots going on at the end of the year. Do I dare ask who's going to be in the dunk tank? So that's a secret. Okay.
Yes, SROs. Mrs. Kerr.
Uh-huh.
I got
Good job. But they're good aims. All right, we'll move on to our Panther Pride Award this evening.
Yep, I'm gonna take that one. So this month, our Panther Pride Award goes to Amy Gable, one of our second shift custodians. I think I was the one that maybe brought her name up to our leadership group, and as soon as I did, there was like a chorus of, "Oh my gosh, yes, Amy." And I was shocked to see that she had not won it before. But then I think about the work that she does, and that makes it less surprising. She's here after hours. She's here when no one's around to see her. Typically only the people that are staying later get a chance to interact with her, but those interactions are always very pleasant. She's always very happy. She's accommodating. She works incredibly hard. The work she does is impeccable. And she does it all with a smile on her face and comes in day after day. And I always enjoy my interactions with Amy. So she would be here to accept the award, but she decided she'd rather be working on the other end of the building. So we couldn't pull her away from her work.
So she is here?
She is here. She told me she said she's staying.
Convinced
Yeah.
her that she is coming to this tonight and she refused.
Yes.
She literally went to the other end of the
She
building.
is
purposefully.
she even came up to me and
No.
asked if I could unlock the door because she didn't want to be anywhere near this
We
presentation.
shouldn't have told her it was
So,
happening. We should have
yeah.
surprised her.
So yes, Amy definitely deserves the award, and we're very happy that she's received it this month. Thank you.
Right, she always does have a smile. She's a great lady. All right, do we have any comments from visitors this evening that are related to board agenda items?
I didn't receive it.
You have anything? Okay. All right, we'll move on to the business part of the program, starting with the approval of the minutes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes listed under 5A and 5B.
Second.
A motion and a second. Are there any questions or corrections? All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Before we start with executive report, I'd like to ask for a motion to go into executive. This will be for personnel and student matters.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Yep, lots of business when we return. Motion second, all in favor signify aye. Motion to continue with our business.
So moved.
Okay, second,
Second.
right? All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we'll continue with executive report. I would like to make a block vote motion of items listed under 6A through and including 6D.
Second.
So motion and a second. Are there any questions? Could we have roll call, please?
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
Mr. Moser. Yes. Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Abstain.
and Mrs. Rance.
Yes. Okay, Finance Committee, Mr. Frederick and Mr. Moser, please.
Okay, if there are no objections, I'm going to preemptively split a few of these out. I'd like to recommend in the form of a motion approval of items 7A through 7C and 7G through 7I. So I'm breaking out D, E, and F.
Right. The motion, is there a second?
Yeah.
A motion and a second. Could we have roll call? Are there any questions first? We have roll call, please?
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
Mr. Moser. Yes. Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes,
Mrs. Rance.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a recommendation in the form of a motion for approval of item 7D.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions? We have roll call, please.
Mr. Hunt,
No.
Ms. Kessler,
No.
Mr. Moser. Yes. Dr. Strasser,
No.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes,
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mrs. Rance.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to recommend in the form of a motion for approval of item 7E.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? Could we have roll call, please?
Ms. Kessler,
No.
Mr. Moser,
Yes.
Dr. Strasser,
No.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
No.
and Mrs. Rance.
Yes.
Thank you.
And finally, I'd like to recommend in the form of a motion approval of item 7F.
Second.
The motion and a second. Any questions? Could we have roll call, please?
Mr. Moser,
Yes.
Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
Mrs. Rance.
Yes.
Thank you.
Nothing further under finance.
Okay, thank you. Facilities, Mr. Hosterman and Mrs. Kessler.
Kessler.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion for item 8A for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions? We have roll call, please.
Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
Mr. Moser,
Yes.
Mrs. Rance.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I would like to present to the board, we talked last week about Pinpoint Wellness Center. We did not add any item onto the agenda, because we presented 3 options. I think when we left the conversation last week, my recommendation was option C. I'm going to hand you that verbiage. You know, I recognize, again, very important topic we're talking about. For the public, this proposal that we went over, there was 3 options. Option A was Brent Donlin, our current teacher that is working in the wellness center, would continue being the sole. You get it? I'm sorry, I said too many that way. Would be the sole person. Option B is we would use Trent, again, for our students with a summer option, and we can still choose A or B. Option C is sitting in front of you. This option is the one we discussed a little bit more last week, and the goal with it was that we felt, I think if I'm going back to the conversation, we felt that by doing it, we go this direction, it would pay for itself in our registration fees. Ultimately, if it doesn't pay for itself with doing that, we probably aren't getting enough people to keep it open. I did not want to be presumptuous and choose A, B, or C by putting it on there, but I wanted to bring it to the board tonight to move us forward if we would like to do that. I will tell you that I also have, that I will give to you now, the job description that we would need to approve as well with this, if we choose to go with option C, so we can begin the hiring process. One caveat there, of course, is we need time to hire. So I don't know if that delays us to a June 21st opening, if how we want to handle that. But no matter what, we're getting closer, and I think that's what the public needs to hear. We are very close to a solid plan of getting this open. Again, I know it's a year later, but I take responsibility for that. Just to trying to get through all of this, those first few months, it was not a priority, and then we uncovered all these pieces. So I'll open it to the board. If there's a motion to go with C, and then if we can make a motion with the job description, if you so choose. If you would prefer to wait, we can do that as well.
I have a question, point of clarification. I'm still in favor of option C, but I'm wondering if it's been considered to hire multiple people to share that responsibility versus one person. Only thinking that maybe multiple retired folks might step up, and it could spread out that time among multiple people rather than one. Has that been given
Yeah.
Consideration.
Thought I had that in the presentation. I thought we added that piece because I think you're right, Mr. Osterman, we went 6 or 7 people because
Yeah, why not?
should somebody be sick and we can call somebody, you know, I think the way we worded that was it limits the amount of closures that would need to happen because you have a handful of people.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think last meeting when we talked, it was at least 2 was what we were looking to hire.
We create a schedule, and I think when I think if we choose to go this direction, we would post the job description, we would see how many people we get. Truly, if we get 3 or 4 people who are really good and we can separate out the hours, it makes sense.
Yep. Would be no extra cost since we're looking at an hourly figure anyway, so.
Correct.
You can put it out there, but you'd have to have public.
Yeah, we have to have public.
So I'll make the motion. To make a recommendation to adopt option C, proposal for opening the Pinpoint Wellness Center to the public.
We have comments. First of all, is we need comments, putting it on our agenda.
Yes.
A second first.
Yeah. Do we have a second? Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay, I thought you did. I heard that, Brent. We have a motion and a second. Before we go to vote, would anyone from the public here to make a comment about adding it to our agenda? Would anyone in the public like to make a comment about the position? Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions from any board members?
Will there be an evaluation in a year to make sure this position is still justified if there's not enough participants? Facility?
I think it would be very appropriate that we come back here 1 year from now and say, on average, this is how many people we're getting. This is what we're looking at. This is the cost that's been in. That's happening. I think it's seems reasonable to do that 1 year.
Add that to the motion.
I would like to add
1 year.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
based on 1 year evaluation.
Yes.
All right, so we will add to the motion an option C based on a 12-month valuation of the program.
Can I ask,
And participants.
can I ask that this whole page be read just so it's on the record? I mean, the public hasn't seen it, so I think we could at least read it aloud.
Want me to do it?
Oh, yeah, Calvin or Dr. Bickmar, would you like?
Anyway. For you.
All right. Pinpoint Wellness Center, option C, proposal for opening the Pinpoint Wellness Center to the public. Milton Area School District would hire a part-time employee or employees at $15 per hour to supervise the PWC in order to ensure consistent coverage after school and during the summer. This would limit the amount of closures due to absences. Summer hours could be adjusted to 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. to meet the needs of our community. 1A, $7,875 represents salary committed to operating PWC for the community. Of that, $5,400 salary to cover PWC management during the school year, 2 hours per evening. And then $2,475 is 165 hours, 55 days at 3 hours per day during the summer for the community. Mr. Donlan's schedule will only focus on our students. 3, the outdoor track will be opened in the summer, tentatively Thursday, May 25th, 2023 through August 16, 2023, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. A custodian will open the facility in the morning and another MASD staff member will lock it in the evening. 4, following school models at neighboring districts where community members are invited to use school district fitness equipment, Montgomery and East Lycoming, Milton Area School District will require the following: an application, liability and weapons policy consent forms, an annual access fee of $50, $75, or $10, including personal key fob with access only during specific hours, $50 to replace, May 25, 2023 through December 31, 2023, and then annually beginning January 1st, 2024. must be able to clear a criminal background check. No person with past or present criminal conduct will be permitted to utilize the facility. 5, during the school year, PWC will follow the Milton Area School District calendar and will not be open on celebrated holidays, professional development days, school closures, early dismissals due to inclement weather, or any other closures. 6, days, hours of operation of the PWC, as well as the track, will be clearly marked on the MASD website under Community Events tab. And added number 7, this will be evaluated in 12 months.
With that said, I'm glad you asked to read it because I want to bring up 2 points. First, we had a conversation about, is it the track that will be open or is it the outer concrete area? Do we want to identify that? Second would be, I have the date of May 25th there. I'm wondering what that workaround would be with having to hire the position, what the board's thoughts are on that. If we have, those are 2 pieces to consider. Do we need to, again, I don't want to delay, but do we need to wait till June 21st to make sure you can appropriately hire and do the application process?
My thoughts on the track are to only utilize the asphalt outer circle. And then potentially once this position is filled and during the hours this position is working, then you could open up the inner track for running, because somebody that's responsible for the weight equipment can also keep an eye on the track as well. So as far as opening on the 25th, if it's just the outer asphalt circle, we can do that.
Right.
And then if we allow the use of the rubberized surfaced, whenever that person would become employed, then we could allow that under my ideas.
I'm fine with that.
I don't think anyone's gonna want to run on the asphalt. Kill your knees.
But if they're there to walk, it's a nice location, flat, safe.
I can say I walked the track, well, the water track for like an hour on Sunday for the girls' field hockey. It was nice enough to teach the younger girls there. And all you saw were community members, picking up candy wrappers. And I mean, it was really nice to see. A lot of people were utilizing it, the outer track area.
Nice.
And they were very respectful to the facility.
Good.
Yeah.
I think we had mentioned, it was brought up that during the last meeting that we would look to get the mile markers put on there for that, if we went that route for opening up the asphalt portion.
So when I look at option C here, the rate that we're paying per hour is more than we pay some of our other employees per hour. I don't know about anybody else, how you all feel about that, but I kind of think that's unfair.
Do we have a classified handbook that gives us direction on that?
We do.
So where does $15 an hour fall in with that?
That would be at, I think it's called category 2 within it. So there are starting categories below that, which from memory, I believe would be custodial and food service. Typically for a part-time position, we start at 13. So 13 would likely be more in line if it's going to follow the classified support staff handbook.
And where do our paraprofessionals fall?
I want to say they fall in the 13 to 17 starting. So they would start below that if they came in with no experience.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So is there justification for starting at 15 rather than 13?
I think my justification putting that number was looking, I think at some of the comments last week, can we get anybody to do this? What is a number that is a reasonable number if you're having teachers or whoever, in comparison to what would be $32 an hour if it was part of the CBA. So I'm comfortable with whatever the board feels is an appropriate number.
I don't want to see a custodian that we can't get jumping a custodian position to take this because it pays more hourly.
Correct.
I just think they should be the same.
Is this included?
I don't
No.
think so.
There are no benefits with this, what I thought.
Just food for thought. I think it should be in line.
I agree. It should line up with the handbook.
Okay, so if we go to one and we change that to at $13 per hour to supervise. Again, the advantage there is when we're looking at cost analysis, it's gonna help us. It's not a problem there. We could always come back to the table if we don't get applicants. But at this point, I think that's fair. So that would be that change there. The outdoor track, do we want to say the outdoor, Rod, what would we call that? Walkway, the outer walkway. So the wording there would be in 3, the outer walkway will be opened.
And I'm sorry to just think of something else, but I did. What about a minimum requirement as far as age? Like, could we employ somebody right out of high school? Technically,
Or high school.
That's what was a conversation I brought up when we first had it was, can we employ anyone in high school, or does it have to be someone who's graduated?
Use them for custodians. We could use them for students for this. Why not?
Are they the supervision though? There's no one else here to
Right.
supervise
I feel like
them.
that should be like somebody 18 or older because they're supervising. That's where I'm
Right.
pausing on this.
That's why I'm
They're
saying,
supervising
you
people.
need to,
That's what
so
I
that
wanted.
an 18
Yeah,
years or
it
older.
needs to be a student.
Well, you could be 18, be a student, can you?
Okay, so in category 1,
So you could be 18 to be a student. That's why I'd asked that question when it first came up was.
yeah, I think it should be somebody 18 or older. We're supervising other.
I think in Joel's response, it needs to be somebody that's graduated.
Okay.
18 and older.
Could I add something for number 2? I don't believe we should put in Mr. Donlin. I think we should put in the name of his position because we don't want to tie it to a specific employee.
So your changes at this point are on 1, part-time employee, 18 or older, graduated at $13 per hour. 2 would be the position name instead of Mr. Dollins, and again, we'll make all these changes. 3 would be the outer walkway will be opened.
What was that date?
That is Thursday, May 25th. I don't think that's a problem. That's when school ends. The question would be on 4 under the annual access fee. And again, just for the public's knowledge, it's $50 for an adult, $75 if it's a couple, and then $10 per child. The question there is May 25th might be a little difficult with trying to hire. To open, any thoughts on getting around that, or
We don't have it filled, we can't open it. I mean,
is that,
it's not filled, we can't open it.
what if we have applicants who are already approved staff?
And if they have their clearances and they're already approved staff or coach.
Yeah.
Then
We're okay with that?
it'll work.
We could at least get it started, and even if there's some people afterwards we want to approve to add. Okay, I would prefer that because I would rather not wait.
I'm assuming some of
Anymore.
the people that may apply for this are already gonna be in their weight training anyways with respect to sports,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah.
Just be.
Okay,
Now, when
that
you
doesn't
say,
change.
when you said $10 for a child, is that our students or is it for each of our students
So
and staff?
the wording we had in there, and I'm sorry, I took it out there, was any child 13 to 18. The place is not designed for anyone under middle school, correct? So I think 13 to 18 is fine, and I think this is in the community side, the community hours, they would have to have community access. We're not gonna say to our students, you can show up during community time.
Students come during.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I'll put a little clause there that says, 13 to 18 with an adult.
When you go to post this tomorrow to amend it, that should all be typed up.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it here.
Oh, we're gonna just scan his sheet and throw
Okay.
it.
Like that?
We'll make sure
Just,
we.
you know,
yeah.
because I'm watching him right over there.
I think,
He's got a
you
lot.
know,
going on.
Yeah, we'll clean it up before we get it posted.
For the public that is here, we did a presentation on this last week. We went over each of the 3 options, so we're just kind of clarifying some, I think it's great. We're we're finally moving the process forward, and I think that's important to the community as well as Pinpoint. So any other changes, we'll make sure it's there.
Just to clarify, the track does not require an access fee, correct?
Correct.
And there's no limit to.
Well, the outer walkway
The outer walkway
is not.
does not require a fee.
The inner surface will, not only during the hours.
I will put in number 3. I'll add that. There's no fee for using the outer walkway. Okay.
We mentioned that the application process also does not apply to that.
No fee or application process.
It's basically open.
Yep. Good.
No restaurant facilities available.
Other question.
Restroom facilities available.
They open all day anyway? Rod? The restrooms in the stadium open all day anyway?
They can be, yes.
They're not currently.
Program that.
They're
Fob access.
okay. Okay.
Really
If you
feel
pay
like
for a
I think-
fob, you can go to the bathroom. Yeah, if you just voluntarily walk on the track, you.
There's
hide
a lot.
behind the bleachers.
Lots of police.
You're not gonna see what goes.
We'll be on camera.
No.
Cameras like everything.
Do we just want to add to that? No restroom facilities?
Unless you have the fob. Unless you're a paying customer.
Can we say at this time, no restroom facilities, and if everything goes smoothly, look to add that in the future?
Yeah, just
We come through with that? I mean,
I don't care.
pause.
I'm not gonna walk there, so.
I don't know where we'd hide it, but I'd almost rather see a porta potty out there than
Yeah, no,
in
we
the
just don't
bathroom.
want to make this place available for.
at this time, we'll put no restroom facilities available. At this time, I like that wording because it gives us options.
Can we see this before it goes out to the public?
You're not trusting my notes? Oh, here, yes.
So, there's a lot of changes.
When does that have to be posted by, Carl, once they vote?
24 hours.
Okay. So we'll have it first thing tomorrow morning. It'll be out. I'm gonna go back over, just want to make sure. Number 1, changing to $13 an hour. We're adding the terminology 18 or older.
No benefits. I mean, I think you really do need to add that. No
No,
benefits.
With no benefits.
not a current student.
Graduate, yep, graduated. I have that there.
The qualifications on the Wellness Center monitor already lists a high school diploma as a qualification. So
Didn't even get to that yet.
it's, yeah, I mean, if that's gonna be the job we're discussing, it's already part of the qualifications for the job.
Okay, number 2 will not be Trent's name, not Mr. Allen's name, will be the position name. Number 3 will say the outer walkway. We will reference that there will be no fee or application process for using the outer walkway, and at this time, no restroom facilities will be available. In 4, where the annual access fee is around the $10, we'll reference a 13 to 18-year-old with an adult. 7 is the 1-year evaluation process. We'll put it all together. We'll have it ready to go. We'll send it to you tomorrow. But did I cover all those? I mean, I think this is a great example of why trying to open this is a difficult process because there's so many little nuances to getting this done. But
One more small one on number 5, we say the wellness center will follow the district calendar, but we probably won't say the wellness center and the track.
Could you repeat that, Andrew?
So on number 5, we say the wellness center will follow the Milton Area School District calendar. But change that to the wellness center and track.
Yep, good catch. Yeah, you're right. We say it number 6, the days and hour operation of the PWC as well as the track will be marked. So we'll just add that same language in 5. Well, I would assume we need to approve this first and then approve the job description?
Yes, just say yes.
Thanks.
Seems
Good
less
answer.
complicated, doesn't
Yes,
it?
I thought about.
All right, so we have a motion in a second, correct?
Yes,
That's where we're
we
at.
have a motion and a second for option C with revisions. Noted. So the first and second still stands. We've had our questions. Are you ready to vote? We have roll call, please.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
Mr. Moser,
Yes.
Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
No, too many changes. Just kidding.
you're lucky I can change an X to a check very quickly. Mrs. Rand.
Yes. Now the job description.
Now the job description.
Make the motion.
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve the job description for the Wellness Center Monitor. An extra copy.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions?
Yes.
Revisions to this?
I have, it says, part-time 12 months. I'd like to add, or as long as the wellness center is open to the public. So if in 12 months, if this person would be hired in August, and 12 months from now, we close wellness center, the position is terminated.
How do I word that, Carl?
You have to, if the position's already.
I mean, you can add it, but it's subsumed if it's closed, that position won't exist.
If he stands by that, I'm good with it.
I do.
Okay,
Yes.
yes, thank you.
Makes sense.
Bring the life of the wellness center.
Typo in number 12.
Oh, we did make that change, then I missed it, sorry.
One in number 8. There's an extra all.
You know, you don't read this whole job description.
Do you have to?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Is there anything, I mean, as you're quickly looking at that, we really tried, Mr. Donlin helped us, you know, Mr. Harris, Mr. Rance, Mr. Berge, all looked at it. Anything you're thinking, you know, as time goes on, if it goes almost the opposite, Mr. Moser, if it goes well and it's working, we can always come back and look at the additional responsibilities, right? Okay?
Yep.
One question about the certifications that we have listed. Is that going to be provided by the district and paid for by the district? Or?
Yeah, we don't do it for other positions. Right.
Okay. Your motion. You made a motion. There's a second.
Yes.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? Revisions? Ready to vote? We have roll call, please, on the position.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
Mr. Moser,
Yes.
Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mrs. Rance.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Where are we?
Athletics.
All right. All right, athletics. And extracurricular.
Yeah, I'd like to make this, recommend a motion, form of a block vote for items 9A and 9B. We'll exclude item 9C and address that.
A motion and a second, those items 9A and 9B. Are there any questions? Can we have roll call, please?
Sorry, I didn't, who was the second for that one?
Was it you, Brett? Did you
I
second?
will.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Harris.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
Mr. Moser,
Yes.
Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mrs. Rance.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion, item 9C. Second.
The motion and the second. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Ms. Kessler,
No.
Mr. Moser,
No.
Dr. Strasser,
No.
Mr. Harris,
No.
Dr. Weaver,
No.
Mr. Frederick,
No.
Mr. Hosterman,
No.
Mr. Hunt,
No.
Mrs. Rance.
No.
Thank you.
Anything else with athletics?
That's it this evening. Thank you.
Okay. All right, number 10, Education and Technology Committee, Mr. Hosterman and Mrs. Kessler.
Let you join. No, I'd like to make a motion under Education and Technology. This is an exciting month for this committee. Make a block motion for items 10A through 10B, special recognition to item 10A. Ms. Kessler, would you mind reading that for the record?
I would love to. Thank you, Mr. Hostman. We'd like to make a motion to recommend approval for the list of 172 candidates for the graduation for the class of 2023. These candidates must complete all requirements to participate in graduation on May 24th, 2023, and be awarded a diploma. Congratulations.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any corrections or questions? Could we have roll call, please?
Mr. Moser,
Yes.
Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
and Mrs. Rance.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else under education? Okay. 11, Personnel Committee, Mr. Frederick and Dr. Weaver.
Dr. Weaver.
All right, I'd like to make a motion for a block vote for items 11A through and including 11G.
Second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions? Can we have roll call, please?
Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
Mr. Moser,
Yes.
Mrs. Rance.
Yes. Anything else?
Nothing further this evening.
Person isn't here tonight. No, she's okay. All right. All right, Legislative and Policy Committee. Mr. Hosterman and Dr. Strasser.
I'd like to make a motion for items listed under 12.A through 12.C.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions or comments?
So to answer the question we posed last week regarding our policies, so 12B being the final reading. We looked into this. Mr. Settler referenced this last week. Policy 009 does reference that in the guidelines, number 3, review by the board, following agreement by the administrative staff, the proposed policy will be presented to the board for review. First time. Number 4 says policy proposals and suggested amendments shall be submitted in written form to all members of the board for consideration and discussion at any official meeting of the board. A vote for adoption takes place at the next official meeting of the board. 2 readings. We did go back and just for an example, we looked at some meeting minutes from July 19, 2011 that had a first reading and then a final reading on August 16th. Same thing, August 16th, there was a first reading of certain policies and then approved on September 20th. So just to confirm, I know that was a question that was asked. The other thing for the board, the ARs in the PSBA policy book, we have it highlighted here. We do not necessarily need board adoption on them. However, I think it's a good procedure to follow, so you're aware of what's being adopted in those. But I think that was just posed last time, make sure we're clear that in adopting these, keeping in mind 12B does include the idea of our student representative. With that approval, Mr. Rance and Mr. Berge will be very busy over the next 2 weeks identifying junior and a senior. You know, I think our only change in that administrative reg is really looking at it being the junior could be a 1-year position. It may not be 2 years, but I think we were in agreement as a leadership team that a full year gives the experience at least. And that's part of the point of this. And I think Mr. Fink explained that last week. Any questions on that?
Could we have roll call, please?
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Dr. Weaver,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Hosterman,
Yes.
Mr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Kessler,
Yes.
Mr. Moser,
Yes.
Dr. Strasser,
Yes.
Mrs. Rance.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else for legislative and policy?
My knowledge.
All right. 13, CSIU Representative Report, Dr. Weaver.
All right, so the second annual Esports League District Championship Games were played at CSIU, bringing together 8 teams from Berwick, Bloomsburg, Danville, Montgomery, Selinsgrove, Shamokin, Southern Columbia, and Warrior Run. This is a high-powered hybrid of arcade-style soccer and vehicular mayhem with easy-to-understand controls and fluid physics-driven competition played on PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, GeForce Now, Xbox One, Mac operating systems, Linux, and Microsoft Windows platforms. 2 teams of students played 5 games against each other. Each game lasts about 5 minutes, and the team that scored the best out of 5 games took the win and moved on as the games were single elimination events. It's had a lot of fun. And again, physics driven. Glad to see more of the science technology. And Central Susquehanna LPN Center had their open house. That was April 20th, 2 to 6. And had staff members there as well as, I don't know if you've seen the new sign, but the new sign has been unveiled. So there's a new sign outside the building. And don't forget about Head Start. Head Start is a free comprehensive child development program for families with children ages 3 to 5 who are not enrolled in kindergarten and live in Northumberland County. And we'll be meeting next week.
Thank you. Questions for them? All right, Secretary's correspondence, Mr. Fink.
This month we have 2 donations to report. We were given 4 beanbag chairs, 1 additional chair, a pack of chewable necklaces and sensory mats, given to us by Bryn McGinnis and her Bloomsburg sorority, and that goes to our Balker Autistic Support class. And then the Panther Pantry received $1,000 from the Milton Lions Club. That's all I have for this month. Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to accept?
Sorry, I have one more. I missed
Okay.
one. We also had a $50,000 grant, Safe Schools Equipment Program. Sorry, Catherine, I nearly missed that.
The $50,000?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about that one before. That's for the,
This is the first time we had that added to the actual
okay.
accepted grants list.
great.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a little bit, that paperwork to go through. That's for the vape detectors and the multi-tiered, support for students that are vaping in school. Combination of our school nurses, our home and school visitor, who's a social worker, and our SROs. They're going to become Catch My Breath trained, and we'll be able to provide some information and referrals for our students.
Now that's everything for tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions? We have a motion to accept the grants and donations.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Superintendent's report, Dr. Pikarka.
A couple things to celebrate. One of the things that Mr. Hunt has been asking about that has now happened, we have all board meetings from January to the present online. I think it's a great idea. It's very transparent, allows any conversation anybody wants to have. It's a great starting point, and we're going to really keep that going as we move forward. Interviews. We just hired a biology teacher tonight. Very exciting, but I'm really pleased, proud of our team. We are moving on multiple positions. You know, it's easy to sit in my role and say, hey, let's get this done, when they're trying to do 1,000 things in the buildings and around the district. But we're moving, we're getting things done. And the advantage of that is we have lots of applicants right now for our positions. You know, it's not what we used to know in the elementary world of 400 applicants at a time for a position, but very pleased that I think every position we have posted, we are getting some applications in. So very exciting. We're working through that. Items 3 and 4, I keep grouping them together and I probably shouldn't. So we'll keep 3, which for me is updated realignment. Met on May 1st, had a great meeting. Some of you were present. A lot of good questions. It's always one of those you wish more people would come, but at the same time, we had a nice handful of parents that were engaged, that had lots of questions. The number one topic, this is Francis looking at what I have here. The number one topic is, of course, transportation. I'm just going to give you, this is a brief document. 24 hours after that meeting, I came in the office, I talked to Mr. Fink, I talked to Mr. Toll, to Darren, and within that time, I had a document in my hand of what we are looking to do already. We made a couple adjustments. It's just an informational piece for you, but it's a clear example. I saw that, Mr. Harris. It's a clear example that we are using our resources to maximize. I'm not going to read every line to you in there, but it's what are we doing now? How are we moving forward for 23-24? What are our goals for 24-25? We recognize, and for the public, the biggest piece to realigning to making K3 at Bacher, 4-5 at White Deer is making sure we have a systematic plan for transportation. I felt very confident in the other questions asked by our community that we are moving in the right direction. We put a timeline up there. We're going to continue to be as proactive and answer questions on this. Any comments from anybody that was at the realignment meeting? Thoughts?
Curiosity question based on the transportation conversation. One of the parents that was there mentioned being outside of the maximum school bus routes. How much of our district falls in that?
Outside of the maximum school bus route, what does that mean?
Meaning they can't get a bus stop because they're.
He said he was like a
mile
mile
and a
or
half.
so outside of where the furthest bus goes. So we have areas that
Well, if it's a mile and a half, they can be required to walk to a bus stop within that amount based on our current policies and regulations. So it could be referring to that. The only other thing that I'm aware of that would prevent us from going out there is if it was an unsafe road, like some of our roads can't be traveled on by bus. So that's something I'd have to ask that to the contractor and to Mr. Toll. Wouldn't have that answer straight away. But that is the only thing that I could think of that would prevent us from doing that.
Okay, I was just curious how many students potentially
Right.
have the availability of a bus.
I feel like they were asked, was that question in relation to what he's saying there is they were within the mile and a half?
I thought he said he's so far out that toward the Danville area. I thought he said that
But the only way would
like
be
he
at
drives his truck.
Yeah, no, if
Unsafe
they're
road.
within our district, like we would be
Right.
offering them transportation.
That's why it surprised
Yeah,
me. It's-
yeah. No, that's
Maybe it was
something,
the
if it's an
reset.
individual case by case basis, certainly they should reach out to us and Mr. Toll will look at it and set up transportation. But I'm not personally aware of that being an issue.
And I know there's some routes like out by Spruce Run Water Dam where they send a van instead of a bus
Yeah.
because it's easier.
It might have been just the way he phrased it.
Okay.
Maybe it was the
Yeah.
distance to a bus stop.
Yes, but certainly, you know, I hope our parents don't hesitate to call in or send us an email. We look at every case that comes through. So
Thank you.
You know, the note was we would not make a kindergarten student walk a mile and a half to a bus. I hope.
Please, it's no.
Yeah.
Any other comments on that from anybody?
I have a question actually about it. We have time before we're gonna vote in October.
Absolutely.
But before that happens, I'd like to see the breakdown, the structure of what special ed is going to look like with 4th and 5th grade being over there and K-3 being at Bacher. How are we gonna share paraprofessionals and teachers and classrooms are going where?
Part of our discussions, so I don't think that'll be a problem at all.
Thank you.
And I think what will also happen is when we begin next year, we'll have real numbers of where the classes are. So we'll be able to even continue to be more as close to being accurate as we can in October of next year before we make a decision of what it looks like for the future. But the goal is to answer as many questions as we can. So the more questions, the better for us. Okay, secondary scheduling meeting. Good conversation on that last night. A lot of great questions. Last night's goal for the, I think Mrs. Rance, Dr. Weaver, you were there. More for me, I was gathering information. There are some questions we need to continue to gather. I asked the public that was there, asking them things like, our AP time will be significantly less because right now it's a full year course in a block versus, a 1 year, a one period course. I think what was interesting is I found one of our teachers at the high school and I said, talk to me about that. And his comment immediately was, it will be a true college course. The child will be responsible. Yeah, they'll have 45 minutes every day, but they're going to be responsible for a true college level course. And that extra time is great, but they'll be able to do some other opportunities. So a lot of questions that are coming at us. One of the goals is to create 2 frequently asked questions, one for elementary alignment, one for secondary scheduling. Keep those things posted over the summer into the fall. I'm open to any suggestions from the board on how to be more transparent. Both presentations, we had people show up and say, oh, didn't even know this was being discussed at all, ever. So that happens. But if you've got ideas, we're going to use Sapphire Blast. We're going to use the website. I think one of the more interesting questions, both of them was, why now? Why are we doing this now? And I think the best answer to that is there's opportunity right now. We're making changes at elementary. I think we believe from a secondary standpoint, we're at a crossroads with where our kids are and what we can provide. So open to those questions. We'll keep the process moving forward.
That came from a high school student.
It did.
It was interesting. There were a couple students in the audience that bravely asked questions.
Absolutely.
I thought that was great.
Like I said, small audience, but really good questions, which is what we want. The prom, if you were there, or you saw any pictures, it was an awesome event. Got to be there. Mr. Rance and Mr. Berge refused to follow the dress code for night in Nashville. We'll leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. No cowboy hats for them. Graduation. We are still planning on being outside. So let's publicly be clear on this. Monday morning, May 22nd, we are going to look at the weather. If we make a decision at that time that we are coming inside because the weather just looks bad, we're not going to go back on that. Like if we make the decision that morning and the weather's there and we decide we're done. Other than that, we're going to go straight through to Wednesday morning. Our goal really is to get to Wednesday morning and be happy. We also realize that we could wake up Wednesday morning and we live in central Pennsylvania. The weather could change on a dime. We're hoping that doesn't happen. Our best backup plan is we've told everybody all hands on deck. We're calling for every person that possibly can come help us at that time. But I think the clear thing there is if we do make a decision, if we really look at it on Monday and we're like, like this isn't even a chance, they're looking at 2 full days of rain. We're going to make that decision, but we want to be outside. It's our goal. We're excited about it. We'll see where that goes. And I'd be remiss if I didn't. It's teacher appreciation and staff appreciation. My first year has been blessed with the amount of people and the good people in this district. I'm so grateful to what our teachers do, what our paraprofessionals, our custodians, our maintenance, they are incredible. But for me, it's this team that's sitting in front of you. I'm not gonna take a ton of time, but it's important to say a few things. Just in the past few weeks, here's some things I've seen. I watched Daphne and Derek take us through a monitoring process with ease. In fact, the state's comment was one of the simplest ones, one of the best ones they've done all year because of the thorough work they've done. I watch Jeff every day running the maintenance piece of it all, but also keeping Bodker moving forward. That's not an easy job. Just this weekend, I watched Rod begin this freshman, sophomore, beautiful day, the power of our field being that opportunity for kids and everybody being there. And it's the perfect spot for that. And then I also watched in a second his excitement for his athletes when they succeed, and it's not about winning. It's about, you got your PR. Nice job today. I've seen Mike and Andy in many ways, the problem, I'm joking with them, but to see the two of them and to see our SROs standing there and the presence they have and watching our kids have fun. And the neat part is they're talking to these guys all the time. They want to be near them. They want to be around them. They don't, shudder from them, and I watched them do class meetings the other day where they demand that respect from our students. So very impressive. you know, with Seth has been incredible the past few weeks, running the ship at Bacher, you know, by himself with Dave being out and now at White Deer. So, you know, just such an incredible addition to our team. And the other thing you can say about Dave right now is Dave's going to keep smiling because he's a daddy. Dave reminds us what life's all about right now with the pictures he sends us. And I think you saw the one I sent, if you got a chance today. I asked him where everybody's hands were when it came to the dogs in that picture, if you didn't see it. But yeah, and you know how I feel about Courtney. Courtney has been, since the moment she started back here on this team, we don't even worry about Sapphire. We don't worry about data input. We don't worry about PIMS. Agreed? We were very worried prior to that because we were trying to solve that. We might be, Misty, we might have a second school psychologist. That's just success enough in your world. But I think Misty has walked into a position where we needed that support to our teachers, and she is giving that, you know, really working to create a great special ed department. And I'll tell you, I could name 10 things right now that Catherine brings to the table, the grants, the funding, all that. A small one that you're not even seeing right now is, you know, one of our nurses is out. And if Catherine wasn't pushing right now, we'd have field trips being canceled and kids events that would be gone, including possibly our 6th grade field trip. It's not going to happen. A lot of great work. So small snapshots. Yes, I'm grateful for and appreciative of what our teachers bring. But I'm telling you, this team right here, incredible people. I know a few people are missing, but you know, thank you for that opportunity to work with such great people in this district, and we should be proud of them. I'll leave it at that. We can.
Okay.
2 hours, so close.
Thank you for recognizing their work, and we appreciate them as well. Lost my agenda. Here we are. Yeah.
Board comments.
Do we have any board comments this evening?
Motion to accept the superintendent's report.
Motion to accept the superintendent's report.
Second.
All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now, are there any board comments this evening?
So I did have the opportunity to see the kids using the impairment goggles and trying to drive a golf cart through this course, as well as a couple staff who may have participated as well. Huge lesson for the kids, but fun way to teach it. It was neat to see them go through that process. I happened to be here to drop something off, and you know, why is the parking lot blocked off? I'm like, oh, okay. And I realized what they were doing, and they were doing the field sobriety test. Just as kids were assisting with the field sobriety test and looking without goggles. Again, a lot of lessons there in a very practical, fun way.
One still note of business, typically by graduation time, we have to spend some time evaluating our superintendent, unless we agree as a board to another date. I'm hoping, and the plan is for Dr. Bickhart to provide his goals and the status of those goals and some new goals.
Correct.
At the, excuse me, at the June board meeting, if that is in favor of that. There's a lot going on this month. Didn't want to try to add one more thing to his plate. So if you're all okay with that, we can look forward to hearing about the first year's goals and some plans for next year. So you're good with that? All right.
And our leadership team's meeting June 14th to really begin focused on next year. So it's we'll be here June 20th, so we'll bring it all together.
All right.
Graduation, I assume the board's invited. Details?
Hope so.
Details where we should go, what? You haven't received it? I haven't received any.
Not yet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. I was wondering. Maybe we got disinvited this year. All right.
I have one question before we move
Sure.
on. So as a board and a district, we create the policies and the handbooks, the student handbook, the course selection handbook. We expect the students and the parents to follow that. We, as a district, are also expected to follow that, correct?
Sure.
So what's written in our handbooks, we should be following as well.
Thank
you.
there any comments from visitors that did not fire the beginning? Anything from you, Derek? Okay. All right. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A second, or well, it was a motion and a second. My goodness. All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Thank you.